Hey there, Keith checking in February the 22nd, 2021. And I just wanted to have a quick special report about something interesting to me. We're almost a 1 year down in the whole COVID-19 saga. And I was thinking about this. It's been a whole year since things happened. And 1 year ago this week, it was kind of becoming a big deal in Iran and Italy. It was already happening in China. And it was just started to encroach into the United States. Coronavirus, we were calling it coronavirus. COVID-19 was not even really the term that anybody was using yet, even though the scientists were using it. But what's interesting to me is to think about the mindset we were in at that time. So I thought about it and I realized that 1 year ago I was still in the office, still working, and I realized it might be a good time to get started to talk about coronavirus in terms of work, about how it impacts us in the office, and therefore how it impacts what I do at work, what I write about, what we cover in our content and that kind of thing at Workable. So I opened up a whole new Slack channel, a chat channel in Slack called Coronavirus. And out of curiosity, I went to it to check it out to see what the conversation was like. Turned out the last message that was sent in there was in August 2020. So I decided to go in there and run all the way back up to the beginning to see what it looks like. So I'm going to walk you through it. Now look at this. That is the chat channel. See, I opened it on March the 2nd, 2020. You see how I opened it up? That's me. I invited a whole bunch of people to it. And then I started with it. Many issues regarding coronavirus in the workplace, specifically compliance and discrimination and the usual logistics of work, working from home, sick leave, separating teams and so on, just to get the ball rolling. Sick policy, how it can make corona outbreak worse. See, at that time, it just called an outbreak. Was it even, what do you call it? Not a pandemic, but before the pandemic. Just an outbreak, a regional outbreak. Anyway, amazing resources of all kinds of content. Basically, resources that were being shared by all these different companies on what their action plan was in terms of returning to work, the response plan, articles and resources to help people in HR, and the list just goes on. Travel impact, recruiting, HR community, virtual events, news and resources, activities with kids at home. Isn't that crazy? And podcast, HR technologies offering discounts. I'm now noticing the Workable's not in here. Interesting. Layoff list, available talent because lots of people got laid off. Companies that are hiring. The list just goes on and on and on and on. Anyway, back to the channel. So, this got shared. Japan, March the 3rd. Japan urged companies to let employees work from home. Okay. COVID may create a lasting workplace change. That's pretty insightful because it did change things. And then I put in a query at the end of the day yesterday to get feedback and first-hand insights on how various people are handling the outbreak in their respective companies. Woke up this morning to 16 responses. We have no shortage of stuff to work with for quick content. And the many posted Microsoft's internal communications. And then getting tested, and lots of anger and frustration. Wash your hands, take your 6 days, cough in your arm, that kind of thing. Twitter is encouraging all employees to work from home. Mind you, that it's only like March the 8th, March the 3rd. And then 9 dead in Washington State. That was a bit of an eye-opener. Had me a little concerned, obviously. And then March the 4th, schools in Italy shut down until mid-March. Just mid-March, which is really not a lot. And then Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Adobe all pulled out of conferences as the coronavirus spreads. And here's Mark Zuckerberg. And all kinds of stuff here. As of last week, 608 people have been subject to self-quarantine in Massachusetts because of COVID-19. Second person's test positive of COVID in Massachusetts. 2 people. It's now like thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And then Johanna started companies going remote. My friend at Credit Suisse in Zurich is also working from home. All cross-border travel shut down. The unknown is much more frightening. A tiny number summons a huge historic panic. Interesting that it's a panic at the time. Somebody else is saying, yeah, major issues. 3rd case announced in Massachusetts. WHO chief saying big problems. And then I published an article. And I was being cheeky. Perhaps the best read so far. That was actually my own article. And now a Belgian meeting. I remember this. There's a big Belgian conference or whatever, and they say up to 175 may have been exposed to coronavirus at that meeting. And then it spread like crazy. I'm just worried. Scared. And then I said, why don't we look at it from another angle? Where are the jobs growing as a result of coronavirus? Trump just signed an $8 billion emergency package to combat the virus. So jobs spike in public health care and research and development in vaccines and etc. And then a whole bunch of content again and again and again. And then students being released early irrelevantly after a parent was diagnosed positive. Again, I'm pressing the jobs idea because that's what we do at work. We help people get jobs. And then I said we could also think about Q3 growth scale plans once everything is contained and everything starts returning to normal business health. That is me thinking ahead. Obviously, Q3 has come and gone and nothing is returned to normal. Okay, stop everything you're doing. Elon has finally spoken. What did he say? The coronavirus panic is dumb. I bet he regrets saying that. And now, Jack, my old co-worker, pointed out that we were getting a lot of clicks in our article. The article that I published. And then a lot of new content and everything. This article turned out to be huge. It was one of my big wins of work, obviously. And then all this stuff, lots of charity. And then I'm pointing out how it's very interesting to see how different the death rate is from one country to the next. Italy's 366 deaths, whereas South Korea just has 51 from about the same number of cases. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And it just goes on and on. Columbia School cancelled classes. That's her school, I think. I don't remember. I think it is. Or she has friends who works there. And then Italy shut down the entire country. 100%. Unprecedented in a democracy. We are only at March the 9th. Believe it or not. Stack Overflow, which is Ronnie's old company, shut down as well, went fully remote, I guess, or I told everybody to kind of hang in there. And of course, in this conversation, I was asking to see if I could talk to anybody for an interview, and Ronnie was going to check into it. And then Rob, who's our VP of Global Sales, shared a return to work discussion guide. It's crazy stuff. Coronavirus could have changed the way we work forever. Obviously, it did. Now Harvard checks out. Harvard moves classes online. I mean, it was done at the dawn on us, then it was kind of a big deal. And NYU went online as well. 2-week quarantine for anybody entering Israel. Just nuts, 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 nuts. And just kept growing, growing, growing. And a friend of mine who had been working at another company implemented a full ban on all public transit, even in Boston. If you must come to the office for whatever reason, Uber and Lyft is the option and the company will pay for it. Isn't that nuts? So there's piles and piles and piles of great stuff. And look at this, our work from home policy template, which kind of, the massive spike in traffic. And the same for remote work policy, massive spike in traffic. And then the Society for Human Resources Managers website crashes after 40,000 people dialed in for a webcast on how to address coronavirus and just crashed it. I think it speaks to how much pent-up demand you had for people to get real clarity. Just nuts. So I said, think about that. 40,000 out of 300,000 members dialing in for a single event. Blah, 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 blah. And then Trudeau, of course, got COVID. Oh no, maybe not, no. His wife got COVID and he had to isolate because of it. NHL just postponed the season. As a Canadian, I am very triggered now. No more hockey. I think that was when it really dawned on me it was a big deal, not just because of hockey, but South by Southwest Conference shutting down 100%. Basketball postponed the season. And hockey shut down the season. And all the big companies going remote, but just beyond comprehension. And please consider we are still only on March the 12th, 2020 at this point. We've just been through 10 days of this speed. Is it this insane? work from home policy template, continuing to search. And then new policy, COVID policy had a whole huge number of publishing. And then another piece of content from Christina on a scaled response plan for HR with full email templates. And it was amazing. And then I said it's officially hit us in Boston now. Massachusetts has banned many gatherings of over 250 people. Offices and factories are exempt as long as it's unusual for employees to be within arm's length of one another. Now, what's very interesting about that is now the advisory is that you cannot even have gatherings of more than several people, like a handful of people. Handful meaning like 5 people or more in one place at one time. And it should be immediate family or maybe one other social group from another household, and no more than that. So huge. And then it just keeps going. Remote work and just nuts. And look at that. Work from home company policy, look how much traffic. COVID-19 email template, how much traffic. Remote work, COVID-19, coronavirus, things to know, COVID-19 company policy, finally homepage, so that it's all COVID related. Just beyond insane. Keith and content team, the sales team all over the world continue to hear phenomenal feedback on the content we are producing. Thank you, and keep it coming. And pretty amazing. Ominous times ahead. Our employee termination template is seeing a small uptick this week. So yeah, lots going on. So I think I don't really want to go on and on about this because there's so much stuff going on, and like literally 1 month later, still a lot of talk about COVID, working from home, and then the bad news started coming in. Layoffs. Really difficult news. Yeah, I think that's all it is. That's all interesting. Okay, I've skipped over a lot. But genuinely what this says to me is so interesting to go back and have a look at the way things we were doing and the way things we're doing now. The way we were doing things and the way we are doing things now. So what this says to me is hindsight is always 2020, and it also puts things in perspective. What this says to me is I think we had the feeling that something pretty big was happening, but because we were in the middle of it, I don't think we realized the scale of it. And now, here you have it. Anyway, this adventure is still going, and I'll keep updating you. Peace out.